Hello and welcome to a brand new series of Beyond Disabilities. Today, I'm going to be talking to Athina. Athina, please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Athena. I'm a dyspraxic and autistic advocate from Manchester, England, and I post advocacy videos on Instagram and YouTube.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to take part in the
Mhm.
podcast today.
No problem.
And can you start off by explaining your disabilities and when you were first diagnosed?
So my disabilities are dyspraxia and autism. I was diagnosed with dyspraxia when I was 7 and autism recently, only about 2 months ago. But
Wow.
yeah, so dyspraxia is a neurological condition which mainly affects your coordination, slow processing. Autism, I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm I think it's similar with processing and
Yeah.
finding it hard to interact, and basically our brains are wired differently.
So, what was your reaction? Because I didn't realize you were diagnosed recently with autism. What was your reaction when you were diagnosed, like at an adult compared? Actually, sorry, I'll reword that again. What was your reactions when being diagnosed as an adult?
um, I've known I sort of had a feeling I had autism for a year. So I think at the beginning I was adamant that I didn't have it, but because I thought I've always got dyspraxia. I know people within school, college, occasionally come up to me and say, "I think you're showing traits of autism."
Yeah,
But once I did a little bit of research, I came to the realization pretty quickly that maybe I do have it, and it took me a little bit of time to accept it and like go to the doctors. And well, I think it's but in the end, I feel like I accepted it pretty well. Yeah.
that's lovely to. No, I can
Yeah.
completely understand why it take you a while like, being an adult to accept it. Like I just grew up with it, so it's all I've ever known. But it doesn't make it any easier in my point of view. Like, although I got early access to support, just growing
Yeah.
up, especially like through school, it's hard because kids aren't can't yeah, kids aren't the nicest sometimes, aren't they?
No.
So what were the
So,
reactions? Oops, sorry, carry on.
oh, sorry, it's okay. It's okay. You can carry on.
So what were the reactions of your family when you were diagnosed with both dyspraxia and autism?
So I think it was more of a shock with dyspraxia than it was with autism. So my mum, because I was the firstborn, my mum, she had like everything that I did, she thought was normal for like a child development. So it was the teachers that came to her and were like, Athena's not interacting well. She can't do a strap. She keeps bumping into walls.
That
My
sounds
mum was worried. Yeah, my mum was worried there was something really wrong with me, but she soon realised that with like help and support, it would be okay. But with autism, someone met my mum was talking about my dyspraxia to someone, and
oh yeah.
they were saying that that doesn't sound like dyspraxia, that sounds like autism. So it was my mum who sort of accepted it first, and then came to me and talked to me about it. So it was sort of like my family accepted it first before I did.
Oh, it's really lovely to hear that they just
Yeah,
accepted it. Yeah, after doing research, I realised that I think it's autism and dyspraxia complement each other really well. Which
yeah,
I think you're likely to have one if you don't have the other. If you have the other, yeah, I think
yeah.
there's I can't remember. There was something with not a symptom, but a trait of dyspraxia. I think, which I always thought was autism related, but it turns out it actually falls into dyspraxia. So it is a really similar disability.
Yeah,
Disability.
yeah,
So
it's very.
how would you say they both affect your daily life?
I say with dyspraxia, it mainly dyspraxia affects me with the slow processing and clumsiness,
Yeah.
and so I think that so mainly I notice it when I'm eating food if I spill it on myself. I do that quite a lot, and
Oh,
people
I'm the
say to me,
same.
And I think my autism just getting overwhelmed in situations. I know when I go on the train and there's lots of people, I can't deal with it that well. And I sort of zone out, and I have to take like the rest of the day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's that. Especially in Manchester, like getting on the trams is just a nightmare, isn't it? Where it's all packed. It's just sensory. There's real sensory overload. Like, I remember I was like so relieved. I managed to get a train when they were on strike down to London, and because of they were on strike, not many people were on it, so I had the whole carriage to myself. And it was
Yeah, I've had it with I went on a train, I think about a month ago, and the train was quite quiet until these drunks started coming in the train, sitting right next to us and yelling.
Yeah. Oh no, that would be
that got a bit overwhelming.
Oh no, I completely understand. That is not a nice situation, is it? Like just yeah. I just like a seat next to myself free. I know that sounds greedy, but it's just nice, or just quiet. So next we're going to talk about your challenges you faced growing up. What was it like growing up? So you knew about dyspraxia, but what was it like growing up with undiagnosed autism?
So it's quite funny, like all my autistic traits, I put it down to dyspraxia. So I thought, like not giving people eye contact, I thought that was dyspraxia, or finding things overwhelming, I thought it was dyspraxia. So I'd still advocate for myself, my autistic needs, but put it for dyspraxia, so I was still getting support. But it was quite tricky. Like there was circumstances where I didn't know what was going on. I thought for a short time that what I was feeling, everyone else thought. It was quite hard, I'd say, not understanding. I'm only just starting to understand myself recently.
Yeah, I think just that. I think once you get your diagnosis, I'm sorry you found it hard, but I think it makes sense, and something like a missing piece of I don't want to use puzzle, but I miss it. Like something just clicks into place, and it just makes much more sense. And you go over like thinking about growing up and things that didn't make sense at the time. Be like, oh, that's why, because I have autism, or because I've got dyspraxia. It's like with the dyspraxia, I went. Well, I've never broken anything. Sorry, this is off topic. I've never broken like any limbs or anything that throughout my life. I've been quite lucky. Like I've obviously fallen over and done stuff. It's only been like grazes or bruises. I went roller skating for like my 30th birthday in last September. I didn't fall over. Fortunately, there wasn't handrails all the way around, so sometimes you had to grab onto the wall, and I ended up on a wall like this, and I broke my finger, and it was painful. It was only one broken finger, but I was off work for a month with it. I just realised that I was just my mum made me go to hospital. That's how I know. Sorry about that. Just a little tangent. It's not all bad if you're dyspraxia, and my advice is just to, even if like you want to do something and like you think you've got your disability will stop you. If you want to do it, just try it. Just try not to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's quite painful when you break a bone, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. I haven't felt a pain like just like I said, I was off work for a month. I got to spend a month with my dogs, and I didn't have to like go out all the time, so that was nice. So please can you tell me what challenges you faced at school, and was there any support for you?
So I had quite a lot of support at school. I got a one-to-one in every single one of my classes. And in primary school, I got the morning off with a one-to-one. But I think mainly just like when the one-to-one wasn't around, struggling to process information. I think that was the main challenge in school, just processing information and being in group activities and knowing that everyone was ahead, and that the teacher was talking and she'd be like ahead 5 minutes, but I'd still be processing the first thing she said 5 minutes beforehand. So a TA helped with that immensely. We worked together, like she would write down notes for me if I couldn't catch up or record lessons. Especially like it was quite tricky in university because mine was the first my first year of university was the first year of COVID.
Oh no! Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so I only got about 3 months of in-person lessons before COVID struck, and I don't work well with online looking at online videos and stuff. That makes it even worse with processing because you can't go up to the teacher and ask them, can you, or clarify because it's like all online.
Oh, I know what you mean. That I was doing my master's degree, like same as you, during COVID, and it was in TV production. So, like, it's like quite a physical course. And then I think, although, yeah, we only got in-person lessons for the last month or two, so we didn't really get like that support. It was just, it was awful. Just, but I'm glad you had support like during school and things. Like I found that, well, my mum had to fight for it when I was at school as well, but once it was in place, it was so useful. I had another question then. I can't remember what it, like we were saying about processing, I've got a terrible short-term memory. Long-term, I'm quite good at, but
yeah, I'm the same. I've got an amazing short-term memory, but rubbish short-term.
yeah.
Long-term, not short-term.
It's like, and similar to what you were saying about the like learning on videos and like when the class is like 5 slides ahead and you're still writing down, like I don't know if it's the same for you, but I struggle with like, I'm left-handed anyway, so but I struggle with like writing things down and like when there isn't handouts, and it's like I get some handout. Had some handouts at school, but I never understood why, and uni as well. I never understood why they just didn't print them all out. It was just with the slides so you can read them at your own pace and like make your own notes.
Did you at uni? Did you have like an online portal where because I know in my uni they gave you all the lessons on PowerPoints beforehand if you wanted to read through them, if you wanted to make notes for the lesson. That was like even before COVID times. So.
That's really useful.
Yeah,
it did it with some, but not with all. Like they didn't put them all on, which was like sort of frustrated me.
yeah.
I just then I could print them out, or if we were online, I could have the screen open at the same time and type. But I think it's just standard, really.
Yeah.
Just make life easier, not just for people with disabilities. I'm sure people without disabilities would like find it easier as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So you touched on uni a bit there. How did you find university? Sorry, I've got to warn you. I could ask questions I haven't put on the sheet, but how did you find university compared to school and college in terms of support, your disabilities?
I felt like I got support as in I got extra time in assignments. So I got a week's action and everybody else, and like I got a dictaphone. But apart from that, I didn't like get like no like one-to-one support or anything. So I found it okay. Yeah. I didn't if I had a struggle, I would go to the teacher. I'd sort of like utilize the teacher as if they were my one-to-one, but like do it like outside of the class hours.
Oh,
But I think I have dyslexia because the way I write, and uni said I have traits of dyslexia, so I'd utilize my mum as well to proofread my work because I couldn't just hand it in as it was because it'd have loads of grammar mistakes that I'd missed or spelling.
That's interesting. I do the same. Like, my it depends. Sometimes I'm okay with grammar, but other times, no, I'm awful with it. That's interesting.
Yeah,
because it would make sense to have dyslexia as well. Might have to look into that. Maybe I'm just a bad writer and type.
I sort of self-diagnosed dyslexia. My mum says it's like obvious that she thinks I do have dyslexia. Yeah.
Have all three of them. It would make sense. I think they all like sort of fit in the same circle.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
Yeah.
So we recently found out that we have exactly the same combination of disabilities, which I think is quite rare because like you're the first person I've met who has autism and dyspraxia, because I know other people who have autism, other people with dyspraxia, but never the two together. Could you start by explaining about, you touched on it a little bit about your dyspraxia and how it has affected you in your life and any coping strategies you have?
So I think mainly like I mentioned beforehand, my dyspraxia it affects me the least, I think, compared to
Yeah.
autism, but my dyspraxia mainly like slow processing and being clumsy. I don't really have that many coping mechanisms, and I just like try and like go through life. But
Yeah.
I think I know like I used to like really have trouble with organization, tidying, putting things away. And now especially in my room, like I type whenever I notice mess, I can put it away. I try and be more conscious about eating, making a mess, doing things slowly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I notice the more quicker I go, the more my dyspraxia will play up. And
Oh,
just like think, although the one thing where I still struggle with and to dyspraxia is perception, where when I'm crossing the road, I can't tell whether a car's close or far away. That is something that I'm really struggling to find a coping mechanism to. So
I
I just freak out and panic.
I know what you mean. I'm always hesitant at crossings and stuff, and just like,
Yeah.
and even when driving, like I've passed my tests, but coming out of junctions and things, I always hesitate. Like, oh, should I go? Should I not? How far's the car away? Like, interesting to see, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I know we've got like dyspraxia, hand-eye coordination, like difficulties, but like, surely there must be some way we could like just find it easier just to find out how far things are, like without wearing glasses or things, because we don't. Nothing's wrong with our sight.
Yeah. Especially I live on a main road. So a lot of the times if I want to walk the dog, I have to cross it. But I'm most of the time when I see a car coming, like I'll freak out and I'll be like, I'll wait till it comes. And it turns out it's like ages till it comes and crosses by.
No, I can
Yeah.
understand that I have that problem as well. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think there is really just got to be extra cautious. Which, although it means some things take more time, and like you said, like we have to
Yeah.
slow down because I'm the same as you. I could either like I try not to be messy, but sometimes you can't help it. Like especially, I find croissants the worst. Just like I always clean up after just any like messy food and things. Like
Yeah.
is the difficulty. So so could you? I'm going to combine these two questions together, but could you talk uh, about explaining? You've touched it again a little bit about your autism and how it affects your life and how you cope with it, and if it affects any like friendships or like. Sorry, I shouldn't go. What is it about going? Oh, I did this out, but about going too fast, I end up combining two questions and I lose my place. Let's make it simple. So, please, could you talk about your autism and how it affects your life and how you cope with it?
I think my autism it mainly affects like if things are too loud. Think I think with the processing of dyspraxia and autism together with the processing, sensory issues. But recently for Christmas, I got some soundproof headphones, which I've been using out and about, and they really help. I've noticed, especially on the train, I didn't realize how loud the train was until I put my headphones on. It's become a lot more manageable with that, I feel, especially like with like certain clothes, like knowing that just to pick the clothes that feel comfortable, not
Yeah,
like wearing really tight fitting clothes. Just before I used to like wear them for fashion, but like
yeah.
now I just wear it for comfort to make it my life more manageable.
I think that's really good bit
Yeah,
of advice.
yeah.
Like, do you have like struggles with light at all, like light sensitivity as well?
I think only when I'm overstimulated, I get it. I get it where I have to like turn off all the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I struggle with sound. I could be okay with up to a point, but I think personally, I struggle with uh, light sensitivity more, like, like especially when it's dark and like you see all the street lights come on. Like they appear really bright to me, and if there's loads of lights, especially if there's no windows, like I need
yeah,
natural light, and then I get headaches. It's just really interesting to, to see.
yeah.
So please, can you tell me how your disabilities affect, if they do, any friendships or relationships, or if you've had to make any adjustments, uh, like if your friends had to adjust their behaviour to your disabilities or vice versa?
I think at the beginning, I think making friends in the past, I always masked a little bit, so they didn't really know like the true difficulties. But when I got a boyfriend, I sort of like slowly started to unmask. But at the beginning, I feel like we had a few arguments because he didn't really understand me with my autism. So I might be a bit repetitive, or I might say certain things or do certain things, and he'd be like, "Why are you doing that?" And he'd think I'd be doing it on purpose. But he's really good in understanding that after asking me questions, and once I explain, like he generally understands and he tries to help me. So I think that's one of the main things recently. It's like it's happened where it did affect it at the start, but we've had to like adapt, understand each other. I've had to be like more like sympathetic and stuff.
Oh, that's really lovely. It's good that you've like managed to be so open, and I think it is a case of just like finding friends and like partners that are like more understanding and patient, and just like having conversations and being open with each other. I think that's like the key, really, like not just for people with disabilities, for anyone. I think just try and be open with each other and come to and explain like why you have to do certain things a certain way, things like that.
Yeah, he's really understanding. Most of the arguments that we have from misunderstandings like only happen once, because once we explain it's like we fully understand each other.
Oh, it's really lovely. And I find that as well, because I've got a friend who has autism and she's happily married, and I've got another one who's in a relationship who also has autism. It's like it's a myth. People with autism like aren't just like, oh, they don't want relationships or friendships. Just need to create more awareness. What we're doing now.
Exactly.
So now we're going to talk about the present. So where are you like in terms of education or employment, and what challenges do you face? Like, I know you started your own podcast, which is launching soon, and you use your Instagram to help spread awareness as well.
Yeah, so I just graduated from university in a undergraduate MA in, I think it was June last year. So I'm taking thank you. I'm taking a gap year, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to go find work, or I'm going to apply to a master's. I have got a master's in mind, which I've started the application for, but I think in between the process of going to the master's in September and now, I'm like sort of like looking for jobs, trying to be proactive. Applying for this BBC job I found online where they're looking for 3 people to do podcasting, and they'll train you up and stuff. So I'm in the process of applying to that too, which is all fun.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sure you'll be brilliant at that. No, it's a good place to work for. Like, we finished working for them back in, I mean, now I do a completely different job, but I worked in TV for 2 years. It's really good. So I think you'd be brilliant as could do a professional podcast. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially with uni as well, I think maybe people with disabilities are put off with going to university because it is a big step in life. So I think having people talk about the experience of university, I think it's brilliant, because it is a really I struggled at college, but I mean, I'm not saying university is easy. It's not, but I think there is a lot of support there, and I think it's I can understand why there's fear around it, but I think you just got to go out there, and if you want to do it, just do it. Like a lot of things.
University helped me a lot with independence. I know when in my second year, I got put in a flat with 10 people, and the majority of them were neurodivergent. So they had autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia. Like the majority of them had all of that, and it was so cool talking to them. I think I learned a lot about myself just by talking to different people, and there was a few people who had autism who gave me some tips.
Oh, that's amazing. It's nice that you're all together. You could all relate to each other and get your first bit of independence together, and any troubles you had, you could ask each other. That's really nice. I didn't have that when I was at uni both times. I think with neurotypical people, and so I was just I mean, I had my mum. Mum's an amazing support mechanism, but I did feel a bit sort of like isolated because being the only person with disabilities. So there weren't really, because at the time I didn't have any friends who were disabled either. Only really since I started doing the podcast, really, I've been talking to more people with disabilities. So no, it's really, really good that they actually did that and put you together so you could all help each other out.
I think they wanted to put everyone together who was on the neurodivergent spectrum, just so they had, like, if they needed help, there was like one place where they could go to get support. So yeah.
That's amazing. I'm glad you had a good time, and I agree with you. It helped me. I mean, I still am shy, but it pushed me out my comfort zone a lot and helped me with my independence. And yeah, I definitely think it's a positive experience.
Definitely.
So, and I really hope you get that podcasting job as well. I think you'd be brilliant. So, what would you say are your proudest moments and biggest achievements in your life, and what positives do your disabilities contribute?
I think who the proudest moment is. What was the second question? Sorry.
Oh no, problem. It was what positives do your disabilities contribute to your life?
And what was the first question? Sorry.
No, you don't need to apologise.
I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. What would you say are your proudest moments and biggest achievements, and what positives do your disabilities contribute to your life?
I think my proudest moments are getting into university, and in my final year of university, I got nominated for it's this award ceremony that the uni does. So it's like held at the Media City campus, and I got nominated for my radio drama in the category, and I ended up winning it. So that was one of my proud moments. So there was like 10 of us on the course, and I ended up winning it. And like I had to like go up to the podium and like do a little speech.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, well done. That's brilliant. I want to know about your radio drama and how about Oh, well done. That's brilliant. And did you feel nervous at all walking up to the podium, or was it like more?
I was so nervous. There was this me and this other girl next. There was me and the other girl who was nominated, and I was thinking, if I get called out, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because it was like a proper it was a proper sit down thing.
Yeah.
And then I got called, and like it was like a proper thing where I had to like walk into a separate room. They had like live cams everywhere, and they had a proper band playing. And like they utilised like every single department, so like TV, radio, like everyone. It was really good. I loved it.
Oh, sounds amazing. It sounds like your version of the BAFTAs. I'm just going to say you've won a BAFTA now.
I didn't think they'd call it a BAFTA, actually.
No. Because it's not film, is it? It's radio. It's not TV. But no. Oh, well done though. It's a brilliant representation of not letting your disabilities like hold you back. So, last question: what are your wishes for the future? This is a long one. What are your wishes for the future? What would you like to achieve? And do you think anything needs to change to help support you and other people with disabilities?
I think my wishes for the future is that I just do things that I enjoy, things that make me happy. So applying for the BBC job, doing a master's, they're all the things that like they don't feel like a job.
No.
But I know. I want it to be a job, but it doesn't feel like a job. It just feels fun and something that I want to do. And what was the second question? Sorry.
Do you think that anything needs to change to help support you and other people with disabilities?
I think just more recognition. I think like on the news, the media, what we're doing. I think there's more recognition to get out, and I feel like slowly, hopefully, support will come in and recognition will come in for people with disabilities, just like you and me. Yeah.
fly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite.